Right, 23 March 2024, and today I would like to give you a quick update, a quick evening update on all the events that have been taking place during the day. As I promised, I'm going to give you an update on what's happening in the CCC, Noso Chamisa, and I want to also give you an update on what has happened in Zambia today during the double Troika Summit, where all the heads of states in SADC attended. So Mnangagwa was over there, and President Hakainde Hichilema convened that meeting, and we're expecting that there will be a discussion over the Zimbabwe elections. You know that everyone is expecting SADC to deal with the refusal by Mnangagwa to attend to the SIOM report, which found that the election in Zimbabwe was rigged. 17 out of the 20 criteria for free and fair elections was not met. And we're expecting that SADC would say something about the Zimbabwe crisis and bring Mnangagwa to order so that dialogue can begin. As you know, Chamisa has approached SADC with this very issue to say they need to look at enforcing the outcome of the elections, the election observer mission in Zimbabwe. However, I'm looking at the communique which just came out a few minutes ago, and the communique says nothing about the Zimbabwe situation. In fact, this communique spent a lot of time on the war in Mozambique and the war in the DRC. So it did not deal with the issues in Zimbabwe. So this is very concerning because I was hoping that we will have this issue discussed. And if you go to SADC, you will see that they talked about a lot about the war in Mozambique and the war in the DRC. And the problem is they've now become a party to the war in the DRC. They've openly slammed Rwanda in this communique. So Rwanda wrote a letter to the United Nations and the African Union, and the group of SADC leaders, what they've done is they've said that that letter was not supposed to have been written by Rwanda, and they disapprove of that letter which was written by Rwanda to the AU and to the United Nations. And you know that the United Nations had a peacekeeping mission in the DRC, which was removed and replaced by SADC. And currently, the issues are to do with governance, they are to do with resource sharing, they are to do with dispute over the borders. And I've covered this in great detail. But we have an issue right now on the border, on the doorstep of Zambia, on the doorstep of South Africa, on the doorstep of Malawi and Angola, which is the failure by Mnangagwa to comply with the requirements of the elections. His elections that he's handling in Southern Africa are not in line with what's happening in SADC. And they failed to talk about it. He's ignoring the SIOM report. So this is a very, very concerning communique for me. I do not see anything here that is of interest. And one thing that I realized about the SADC is that they are probably running out of money and they are unable to push through this war. I have a feeling that this gathering had to do with trying to raise money. This is what I am seeing here. I cannot believe that there was any other reason. If you look at the communique, which I'm going to publish on Kapako.com, you can see that the only purpose here was probably because some people are not contributing money. And when it comes to Mozambique, there is no light at the end of the tunnel. What exactly are they achieving? And Rwanda is the one that is over there in Mozambique, advancing the fight against the ISIS. So on one hand, they are slamming Rwanda in DRC, and on the other hand, Rwanda is right on their doorstep assisting in Mozambique. It makes no sense. There is a strategic error in terms of SADC, and I think here President Hakainde Hichilema should have pushed harder for Zimbabwe to be discussed during this meeting. And I see that in this whole communique, there is nothing here of significance. The only item of significance here is number 13, summit disapproved of the contents of the correspondence from the Republic of Rwanda to the United Nations and the African Union Commission concerning support to Summit DRC. That is the only thing here that makes sense to me, which they did. But everything else, they failed. They failed on Zimbabwe. They should have discussed Zimbabwe there. Mnangagwa was right there. All the heads of states were over there. So they were head of states of Lesotho, Namibia, Tanzania, Botswana, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, Malawi, and Angola. And they all failed to discuss the pressing issue. Because remember, Zimbabwe is going to be hosting in August the summit, or the SADC summit. So they should have talked about this. They cannot come into Zimbabwe without discussing this issue. And as I've said, the guys in Zimbabwe, the opposition political parties, they must make it impossible for that summit to be held in Zimbabwe. There must be the biggest demonstration ever in Zimbabwe during that summit, SADC summit, because SADC is failing to deal with the issue in Zimbabwe. They are failing to bring Mnangagwa to order for rigging the election in 2023. So that is what I wanted to say about the SADC summit. I'll publish for you the communique within a short space of time, maybe within the next 10 minutes. But let's go to the issues to do with the CCC, and I want to give you what I know, but not all of it. I'll give you a portion. I do not want to be part of causing confusion in the CCC. I would like to give the guys a chance to work out the issues. So there are various things happening in the CCC, but the biggest problem that is currently there in the CCC is that people that had left the CCC also want to be in the CCC. So I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. There are people who say they've left the CCC, but they are currently holding meetings together with the people in the CCC. So there is almost what I can call an incestuous relationship between people that have gone to the blue and people that have gone to that have remained in the CCC. So this needs to be addressed. There needs to be a proper statement on what is happening, because we can't have this we're in and we're out at the same time. So Anachibaya and all that list that I gave you in the morning, that is valid. There is no clear direction to say, do we leave these guys out or do we keep them in? What is the role of the role players? Anampananzi, Anatimba, Ana Ostalos, what is their role? This is a very big problem happening behind the scenes, and I wish I could tell you more, but at the moment I would like to restrain myself from saying much more than what I've said now, which is quite a lot if you digest what I've said to you now. People that you think are not talking together are talking together, and they're spending time together. And Chamisa is not there when this is happening. He's over there, and people want to accommodate each other, and there is no understanding of how this is going to be separated, how we're going to separate the people that are left and the people that are going. So that needs to be addressed. Another important development is that Chamisa has given an instruction that there should be no meetings or political meetings on a Saturday. That is what I've heard. So today you would have seen that there was no meeting on a Saturday, and in future you will not see any political meeting on a Saturday. That is an instruction from Mr. Chamisa, from my sources. They've advised me that this is what has been said. So if you go online, you will not see any political activity from the blue just because of that. And then let's look at the comments very quickly. I want to look at the comments and see if we can get something here to respond to. This is my evening bulletin. It must be very short. And unfortunately, I'm that guy who likes talking. I like hearing my own voice. So let me quickly look at the comments here, my brothers, so that I don't go to bed without finishing this whole thing. So as I said, SADC very disappointing. They didn't talk about Zimbabwe. They didn't address the rigging. Chamisa was looking forward to this happening, a discussion on Zimbabwe, but this didn't happen. The communique is out and it's not there. And then Mkoma Wanda is saying, Kabaka was doubting you all along, but honestly, so far you are the best Kwandiri watching from UK. Thank you, Mkoma. Media is like that. Sometimes you like what I say, sometimes you won't like what I say. The important thing is for me to be there, present all the time. Very, very important. Mkona media house, number we are. That is a problem. And then Mkoma Gilbert is saying, Mkoma Gabako, thanks for keeping us in the dark, for not keeping us in the dark. But remember, thank you very much. And Mkoma 111, you're saying, nope, is Chamisa's new party, no opposition party exists. Yes, there's currently no opposition party in Chamisa. Chamisa is not in an opposition party. And that is what I've been saying. That needs to be addressed. And then Mkoma Tatenda saying, so this means SADC has failed. Yes, there will be no election in June. And I think Opochimo properly addressed that yesterday. And I've been telling people that there's no election in June. Today was the last chance for SADC to speak on the rigging by Mnangagwa. And they failed to do so. So now we're waiting for the August summit, which I said there must be a massive demonstration. I will personally organize it myself if no one else does, so that we don't have the SADC going into Zimbabwe and getting away with it. SADC guys are responsible for that report that they issued. There must be action taken on Mnangagwa for rigging that election. So we don't want SADC to just issue a report and then go away. That makes no sense. What they're doing. And Mkoma knows that there's no election in June, as I said. They failed today. This was the last chance today for SADC to say something about that behavior by Mnangagwa, who is refusing to listen to anything that is said by anyone. The SADC elders have failed to convince him. All the other presidents have failed to convince Mnangagwa. And this communique is clear evidence that nothing is going to happen in June. So Chamisa has to go back to the drawing board. And we need to take another direction here. And then Mkoma Simon saying, so Chamisa is off on Saturday, then he is missing the point. So as I said, according to my sources, Chamisa has said there should be no political meetings on Saturday. So I want to hear from himself. I've seen that he commented, and I'll throw in that comment later on. He was asked directly if he is a member of the SDA, and he said that being a member of the SDA and observing the Sabbath is not the same thing. But my sources said that there must be no political activity on a Saturday. That is what he said. So I would like to thank everybody here so that I don't keep going. There is news right now. So let me quickly run and look at the news that has happened. But very, very disappointing. SADC saying nothing about the situation in Zimbabwe. And the situation in the CCC is currently on suspension, obviously, because there are no political activities on a Saturday. There was nothing new. So let's see what happens tomorrow. I'll also try to get hold of my sources, and we see what is happening with the appointments that are taking place. There are currently appointments of people who are working with Chamisa into CCC structures, which is very, very confusing. And that is why I'm saying we need to look at this situation almost on a daily movement, on a daily basis. And Mkoma MS is saying SADC has moved off from Zimbabwe. I told you already. I tend to agree a little bit with you, Mkoma MS. SADC is not taking this Zimbabwe issue seriously. It's us, Zimbabweans, who have to take it very, very seriously and make them go back. So SADC will only listen to you if you take up arms. That's what it means. If you take your gun and start shooting each other, that is when they'll start listening. Does that make sense? So I think this is very stupid of SADC. And let me use the word stupid, because you're waiting for people to start shooting each other so that you can intervene. I don't think that makes sense. Intervene when there's a crisis, like in Zimbabwe, there is a serious crisis. And Mkoma Dorman saying Zimbabwe's situation will be hosted behind the scenes. The meetings are over, Mkoma. The meetings is over. The communique has been issued. The meeting has happened. So there's no more behind the scenes. The ED does not listen to anyone. If you know ED very well, he believes in what he goes in with. He comes out with that solution. He doesn't listen to anybody, especially President Hakainde Hichilema. He doesn't listen to him because if he listened to President Hakainde Hichilema, he would have had a solution by now. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'll be back in the morning here in the AMs so that I can give you an update. A good night to you all.